We've got some business to take care of before I introduce my illustrious cast. And these are our sponsors that make this possible to do these shows. And the first one is DJEventPlanner.com. We have ElectroVoice.com, DJTrivia.com, ProXDirect.com, DJRequests.com, OdysseyCases.com, and perfectportals.ca/. Now, when this goes to YouTube, all you have to do is click on the description where it says show more, and there will be hyperlinks to these sponsors, and you can get whatever you need from there. And we will put that in the chat if you're watching live. It will be in the chat, and I will do that now. And Control V, and there we go. So let me introduce. I'll go from left to right. We have DJ Mikey Mike with us. Thank you, Mikey. We have Travis with us. Good to see you again, brother. And of course, we have Buddy with us. Thank you, Buddy. And the one and only Mr. Brian S. Red. And I can really say this now. My road dog, John Cawley. Okay.
Have mercy. Indeed.
And, well, certainly a traveler of sorts, Mr. J. Brannon from Swingin', Temecula, California. Thank you all for being here. And I was thinking that, all these award things and everybody puts on their best face. Oh, man, how about if we talk about some glitches or mishaps that have happened at events and how we overcame them? Yeah. Who would like to go first? Well, all right, I'll go.
Go ahead, Hal.
As many of you may know, John and I were in the Great White North of Lake Placid, New York for 2 weeks doing an event, and there were so many chiefs and, not enough Indians that they were in and out of the production trailer, and I was using my iPad to control the lighting, and they kept breaking. They would move, and, a lightning cord is really easy. You don't even have to break. They usually don't break, right here. They will break here, right at the metal part. It bends, and they're setting stuff down and moving stuff in and out, and both of Eric's got destroyed. Both my primary and my backup was destroyed from these people. So to the rescue, John Cawley went out, and he got this at some little whatever Walmart or Walgreens, I think he said.
Hole in the wall, I think I called it.
Oh, okay. And what it is it's 3 out. So this had the lightning cord that I needed, but it also has a USB-C, and it has the mini USB-A on it, all the popular ones. And this now, when I got back, I ordered 3 new lightning cables. And this is going to go in my emergency bag. So that's how we overcame that, because it was like, well, I can run on battery power and get through the night, but we're not going to have a show tomorrow if we don't have a cord. So that's what we did.
I guess I'll follow you up then, because I shared the same world with you for 12 of those 14 days.
Yes.
You get really good at troubleshooting when you never know what's going to go wrong. You come in one day and it's like, hey, one of the propane heaters isn't blowing heat on the stage. Okay, then you got to dig in and figure out what's going on there. Or, hey, one of these lights is acting squirrely at the end of the chain. So every day it was an adventure to, you turn everything on and see what isn't working that day. That's not necessarily because anyone touched it. It's 8 degrees. It's snowing. It's wet, freezing rain. You try to remember to cover all the, snake boxes and everything at the end of the night, and plastic, so everything works the next day. Leave it on, leave it powered. Get that call 10 o'clock in the morning. There's a hum coming from half the stack. Can you go down to the field and figure out what's buzzing down there? Okay. Little things you have to just be really good at on the fly. And this was a lot of fun as far as troubleshooting. It wasn't all just DJ. It was lighting. It was electrical. Running Cat 5 lines to bypass stuff that was acting funny and piles of snow.
You did a lot of that.
That's just a lot of that. But we got the train on the tracks, and I mean that's you say it's about putting the needle on the record, but when you're involved in a big to do production like that, you really have to know a little bit about a lot of stuff,
right?
To just be able to troubleshoot it. If you're the only one there, make it work. So that's by overcoming all kinds of crazy things. Like a lot of feathers this week.
You really were the go-to guy for that, for running. You were running everywhere, and you were a camera operator too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Who would like to go next?
Well, several years back, we had a state police shooting here in northeastern PA, and the troopers shut all Wi-Fi down, and I happened to be DJing a wedding. And as a virtual DJ, you have to be connected to the internet when you first boot up, and it was right before the wedding. Boom, I lost everything. I'm like, what the hell? So, tried rebooting. It took me like 5 or 6 times before I rebooted. I shut the Wi-Fi app on my computer, and finally, I don't know how it happened. I got virtual DJ to run without having the Wi-Fi connected, and I was able to get the wedding on and get it going. Had a little delay, in the entrance and stuff like that, but it was just a worrisome night because everybody's coming up, their iPhones or whatever phone they have, they want to post pictures. They can't post pictures to Facebook. Everything was just done. Everything. But somehow we made it, get it through the night, and we got people dancing to the intros first, and everybody enjoyed themselves after that.
Well, that's good. Good. I don't want to kind of run things, but I'll go next because no one's going to top me. Nah, probably not. So, I think it's very important to understand that 99.999% of the time, when something goes wrong, if you've got backup, you're going to be okay. So I've had gear break, I had backup. The worst was the first dance. I bought a song on iTunes and listened to it, but iTunes only downloaded the first 30 seconds. So I listened to the first 10 seconds, burned it to a CD, went to the gig, put it on, and as it's playing, I looked down and saw the waveform was like that long, and it stopped. And I literally walked out to the bride and groom during their first dance and said, I'm really sorry. There's a problem with the file. Can I play the one that you wanted as your second first dance? That was the most mortifying. Right.
The two that were the worst. One, I showed up at a gig 3 hours from my house, and I had forgotten to bring my hard drives. And I managed to find a local DJ, called him, and it's someone we all know. He brought me his hard drive for virtual. I plugged it in, and I did a 7-hour gig blind, meaning every single song I had to type in and figure, does he have it? Can I play it?
That's what I do at every wedding.
Well, you use Mixmeister. I use Serato. We have crates. So I have a crate that says like background.
Filters in any program.
No, I know. But some of us use a little guidance at the gig. Like, I have an idea. I'm going to go this direction. So I've got these artists. If you gave me your hard drive, I don't know what's on it. So if I'm typing in Guitar Rizmo and you don't have it, now I've got to start thinking, okay, what's like that he might have? Does he have Craig Takisho? Does he have Laura and Ray? You know what I'm saying? You're kind of...
Yeah, you can do the same on that program. I used virtual last night, by the way. So
okay. But I mean,
well, you're still not using real gear, but I mean, that's fine. You know,
That's the pioneer stuff. Yeah.
well, hey, you know, it's not the paintbrush, it's the artist, Brian, right? The worst was, and by the way, the bride and groom never found out any of this but the first dance. But the worst was the wedding I had, where when I showed up, there were police around the front of the hotel. I always went through the loading dock up a freight elevator. I got up there, and about 3 minutes before I got there, because when I got up the elevator, I was greeted by a detective, maybe more like 15 minutes. I was informed that I was walking into an active police scene because a gentleman had come upstairs, was told not to hang out there. It was a private event. And he proceeded to walk 10 feet out in front of the coordinator, step up onto the ledge of this 7-story hotel, and dive off. So and we managed to get the wedding done without the bride and groom finding out. Because it was raised 2 hours after the incident. Yeah.
Well, we want to thank you all for tuning in.
Good night, everybody. Thanks as always.
I mean, you and Mikey, oh my God.
Death and dismemberment next week. Here you are.
Yeah, what's up?
The most depressing wedding story you can tell.
Yeah, I'm hanging out with I had a speaker on. You get people leaping off buildings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got us all, Jay.
Well,
Right. Can't talk.
our coordinator was freaked. I walk over here, Jimmy, all right? And he was like crying, flipping out. I'm like, went right into crisis mode, calmed him down, recognized 2 cops that knew me. It's like, we're going to get through this, but we managed to keep it quiet from the bride and groom. That was the shocking part.
That's good. Yeah. All right. Let's see. We got,
Yeah, bring your broken speaker cables on, kids.
I can't top that. You know, the only thing I could top is say I still don't have my chocolate bar.
That, well, I
don't even know chocolate bar.
that might be just as unbelievable.
I think he goes out every day and gets a new one.
It's the same one.
No, the label looks different.
I want to see the expiration date.
I put an R on it. I colored the R in.
I just got a hit on my phone from Newsbreak. It
You
says
can buy a signature on that thing. Yeah.
Illinois suffers new shortage of Hershey chocolate bars.
What are you standing?
Bar. One pound bar is still here.
Or as they call it in the UK, laxative chocolate.
Or as Buddy calls it, chocolate of the day stunt bar. Stunt bar.
It's my granddaughter's. Yeah, it ain't true.
Yeah, it's filled with styrofoam now. It's sealed up.
See your granddaughter more often, kid. You've been holding that bar up for 3 months.
Been hiding that from her. Come on.
Pretty soon it's just going to be melted paper.
Here it is. You can't just give it to her. But again, I've had problems with software. I've had problems like we all have had. I've not had a tragedy of someone unfortunately passing away or committing suicide, but there was an article, and this didn't go to me, but it was on the news here going back a few years. A DJ who had a heart attack in the elevator and passed away, and then I think it was the hotel staff found him unresponsive in the elevator, getting ready for a wedding. And that's one of the things that, unfortunately, if you're by yourself, you're going to prepare for. But it's just one of the things, that poor bride and groom, as well as that guy's family, who he passed away, doing what he loved, I guess. But, it's a sad thing like that. And to me, it's one of the things that we try to prepare for everything. We try to prepare for broken cables, like with Howie. We try to, backup gear, so forth and so on. But when a tragedy like that happens, it's very difficult, not only emotionally, but also just trying to overcome what happened. And one of the things is that I will say, having friends and be able to get a hold of people and talk to people and know people that can help out, I think is a key thing there for any DJ to have. So having that, be able to reach out, and ask someone locally who's there, like you had with the hard drive, Jay. You may not know what's on the hard drive, but again, you had a hard drive, you had music.
Oh, yeah. No, it still worked out. And I've covered for guys that sadly passed away and they had a wedding that week. And luckily somebody had the wherewithal, the coordinator, to start calling that day and say, this is really sad, but I've got, 3 weddings this guy's DJing in the next 5 days. But I can't imagine being on site and dead. Like, who who do you call and who makes the call?
Yeah, it was.
We have
It was a local news hearing. It was sad. I had COVID. Couldn't do a Thursday wedding because I had COVID, and got hold of one of my friends, they were DJ, and had it covered. But that's not as tragic as what happened to you, Jay, and what happened to this poor gentleman a few years ago. But it's one of the things that we try to prepare for a worse, but sometimes even that you can't overcome it.
all right. We got two left. Can you talk about something other than death? Last two.
What was the question? I don't even. It went from when you have a problem, how do you troubleshoot it? Into people died or got sick. I don't
It's
know.
the worst thing that
I don't remember the question. This went very Jay.
Jay starts.
This glitches, mishaps that crop up,
And how to overcome what you do.
how to overcome them. Yes. How
So,
did you overcome?
What problem did you have, and what was the solution to the problem? That's the thing
Yes,
that we're
indeed.
looking for.
Yes.
Okay.
Did you have to step over a body? And
No.
how did you roll your car over his body?
Not what happens when someone dies or kills themselves at your event. That's okay. Just to be clear. I wanna make
Yes.
sure.
Thank you, sir.
No one died at the event, but my USB cable to my controller did, and it took me forever to like figure that out. It would not boot up. This was back in February, and luckily I carry this little Newmark to go controller for ceremonies, for like the ones that are in the woods, and so I just grabbed that one, plugged it in, exchanged the cable pretty much, and it worked. But yeah, I'd never thought before I should carry a backup USB cable, especially that type, because typically it's kind of stuffed in the case, and it doesn't really move, and it doesn't have the opportunity to get snagged on anything or short out. So yeah, it took me like 45 minutes to figure that out, and then I did an update on Virtual DJ. This was back at the first week of December, and then mid-month I had a wedding. And for 3 hours, I had to troubleshoot this weird issue I was having, to where when I would start taking my faders and putting them up to full, the speakers would get quieter. There was something going on with the auto limiter in the software after the update that could not get sorted out. So I actually had to roll back the update. So that was one of those weird things where that necessarily wasn't in my control. When I tested it after the update at home, it was just fine. So yeah, it's those weird little things. Sometimes it's software driven. Most of the time it's hardware driven. So you just got to have an appropriate amount of backups for that kind of thing.
All right, the best for last.
I'm not the best. Jay was the best. He even said it.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. So interestingly enough, and Howie and I have this thing that happens a lot. I prepared for a very similar video to shoot today, but La Vida Loca screwed all my stuff up and wanted me to do other stuff today. I didn't get around to it, but I made my notes and I got them. So I did this event last night. It was last minute, and I didn't use my normal setup. I used some different stuff, and that's a whole other video. But I was very sore today, and I'm trying. Why am I so sore today? I have my own unique set of problems because of my stroke. I don't really produce body heat on my right side, so ice and snow and cold weather are my enemy.
Yeah.
One thing I do to try to help make myself move around a little better in an event is I layer up. Sometimes I get hot and I have to take a layer off, but I layer up. That helps. I also sometimes actually soak in a tub before and after an event. A hot tub warms my body up. Because if I don't keep myself warm, I will get stiff and I won't be able to move very well at an event, and I just get cranky and everything's ruined. Tough load-ins. Sometimes you have a load-in that's really difficult to get in and out of. There's really not a whole lot you can do about that, but there are some things you can do to help make it better. One thing that I do is I load up the day before an event. That way I have the energy to do the tough load in and out. I don't have to touch the gear as much that day. That helps. Something else that helps is I don't own a minivan. I've never owned a minivan, and I don't think I ever will, but a minivan or an SUV has a tailgate that opens up. If you're dealing with a pickup truck, as you are, Howie, you have to lean over that tailgate to pull the stuff out. That bothers me. That really tears up my body, and
Mm.
I'm better off just pulling it straight out of an SUV where I don't have to lean over so much. I use cart, rock and roller cart, gets me in and out of most places with very, very, very few exceptions. Most places are handicap accessible. So if they're handicap accessible, you can get a rock and roller in and out of them. You don't have to carry this gear on this tough load end. I keep the gear lightweight and compact, and I park as close as I can. Those are the things that help me with those tough loadouts. Another problem I have, it's a low table height. The banquet tables.
Oh, God.
I know Buddy still uses banquet tables. He sits down when he DJs. He definitely uses the hall's banquet table, and I used to do that too. And I couldn't figure out why I was so sore all the time. Come to find out, it was that slight lean over, just a very slight lean over, that was screwing up my back and fatiguing my legs and everything else. I went with a 36-inch high table, okay, which is the Pro Event table.
Right.
Not even thinking about the regular standard banquet tables being too low. And all of a sudden, I didn't have back problems anymore. I wasn't sore anymore. I was upright. I felt good. I didn't have all this soreness. Last night, guess what I did? I used a banquet table because it was there. And guess how I felt today?
Like I feel right now.
Like Howie feels right now is how I felt today. Exactly. I felt like I was 97 years old today.
Oh my goodness. 2 weeks. I drove home last night, and that's like, boy, I kind of get an inkling about how you felt when you went to Florida for that.
Oh, well, you went even longer though. You went even.
I know. It's just, it is what it is. It's just, but it was worth it. It was so much fun.
But you know that every time that you are presented with a challenge, you need to figure out a way of how to make it work for you. You mentioned earlier about food. You're done at 9 o'clock. The whole town rolls up the sidewalks.
Yeah.
So what do? You have something in your fridge to eat after you're done working. If you don't do that, you're going to be hungry or be subject to the hotel vending machines. You just got to find those workarounds.
Yeah.
Workarounds is what it's all about.
Exactly.
And the more clever your workaround is, the easier your life's going to be. I mean, there are things that I do at every event that just make my life easier, because the more time I spend setting up, the more tired I am. So I built a rack that had a lot of stuff built into it. I'm not plugging in a separate computer power supply. I'm not plugging in a separate, microphone lead and power for the wireless mic. It's all built into the rack. So I open the rack and just plug the leads into where they need to be. And it's so much easier than unpacking everything and packing it back up. It's just a workaround. So you got to identify the problem, then find the workaround,
Right. So basically work smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, all right. I want to thank you all so very much for participating in this. And folks, as usual, if you have a topic you would like us to cover, leave it in the comments down below. When is it, Jay? Easter? When this video come up on
Greek
YouTube?
Easter.
I was just thinking Greek Easter. Yeah.
It's Greek Easter.
Greek Easter.
That's sometimes in May.
Yeah, sometime in May 2020.
Sometime, yeah.
Sometimes it's not. It's Greek Easter.
Alrighty.
I don't know.
Thanks again, and